The forest always seemed inviting during the day, with its dappled sunlight filtering through the dense canopy, painting the ground with a tapestry of warm hues. But as night descended, the woods transformed into an ominous and eerie realm, where shadows danced in the pale moonlight and rustling leaves whispered sinister secrets. Ignoring my instinctive unease, I had convinced myself that camping in the woods at night with my friends would be an unforgettable adventure. Little did I know that our trip would turn into a nightmarish ordeal. We arrived at the edge of the forest, just as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting an ethereal glow over the towering trees. The others, eager for an adrenaline-fueled experience, seemed unfazed by the looming darkness. In their excitement, they had brought ghost stories and a stack of marshmallows to roast over the campfire. But the deeper we ventured, the more trepidation gnawed at my soul. The eerie silence was broken only by the occasional hoot of an owl or the rustling of unseen creatures. As we wandered further from the safety of civilization, our flashlights cast quivering beams of light into the inky blackness. Each step amplified my anxiety, and I couldn't shake the feeling that we were intruding on something ancient and vengeful. As we set up camp, unease settled upon us like a shroud. The fire crackled and cast long, wavering shadows that danced along the trees, as if teasing us with dark secrets. Despite the chilling air, sweat clung to my brow as the unsettling energy grew thicker around us. The flickering firelight played tricks on our minds, making shadows stretch and contort into grotesque shapes. Steve, the most boisterous of the group, took center stage and began recounting a terrifying tale about a cursed cabin deep in these very woods. He spun the story with such skill that even the most rational among us couldn't help but glance nervously over our shoulders, half expecting to see a sinister figure lurking behind the trees. The night wore on, and the moon rose like a haunting spectre in the cloudless sky. Its crimson hue, a result of some celestial anomaly, added an unnerving air to the already unsettling atmosphere. We laughed nervously and tried to dismiss our growing fear, but it clung to us like the shadows themselves. A rustling in the bushes interrupted our uneasy camaraderie, and we froze, our gazes darting around, seeking the source of the disturbance. Steve chuckled nervously, dismissing it as a mere animal, but my heart pounded in my chest, and my mind conjured up visions of malevolent spirits lurking in the darkness. As the night deepened, paranoia gnawed at the edges of our sanity. Each whisper of the wind became a sinister murmur, and the distant hoot of an owl sounded like a haunting cry. The eerie glow of the blood moon seemed to mock our vulnerability, as if it knew we were trespassers in its domain. In the midst of our fear-induced stupor, we heard a distant, guttural growl. The air grew colder, and the fire dimmed despite our efforts to stoke it. Panic seized us, and we huddled together like frightened animals. The shadows seemed to come alive, twisting and writhing as if dancing to some malevolent tune. "Maybe it's just an animal," someone said, their voice trembling. But I knew deep down that this was no ordinary creature. It was something older, something primal, and far more sinister than anything we had encountered before. Suddenly, a pair of glowing eyes emerged from the darkness, fixated on us with predatory intensity. We collectively held our breath as the creature approached, revealing itself to be a massive wolf, its coat as dark as the night itself. Its eyes gleamed with an otherworldly light, and I could feel its malevolence in my bones. In that moment, I knew we had trespassed into a realm where we were unwelcome, where the woods had claimed dominion over all who dared defy its ancient law. The wolf circled us, its movements graceful yet foreboding. It seemed to understand that we were outsiders, and now we had become intruders in its realm. A collective realization washed over us. We were prey in this desolate wilderness. There was no escape from the blood moon's gaze, no safety from the writhing shadows that lurked among the trees. As the night wore on, the wolf's menacing presence never left us. We clung to each other, hoping and praying that the first light of dawn would chase away this nightmare. But the forest had other plans, and it was like the darkness reveled in our terror. That night, I learned a hard truth, that some places are not meant to be explored, and some legends are not just stories. They are warnings, whispered through generations, urging us to heed the dark secrets that lie within the woods at night. To this day, I shudder at the memory, haunted by the sinister glow of the blood moon and the chilling whispers that still linger in the shadows. I never believed in the stories of malevolent spirits lurking in the woods. To me, They were nothing more than cautionary tales told by elders to keep us away from the forbidden darkness of the forest at night. But on that fateful evening, I would come face to face with the chilling reality that lay hidden beneath the canopy of trees. It was a moonless night, and the dense woods seemed impenetrable, shrouded in a darkness so deep that not even the stars could pierce through. I had joined a group of friends for a thrilling night hike under the veil of darkness. The sense of adventure had filled us with an invincible spirit, and we set off, our flashlights casting feeble beams to guide our way. As we ventured deeper into the heart of the woods, I felt an inexplicable unease creeping over me. The usual sounds of nature seemed to have abandoned this place, leaving behind an unsettling silence that hung like a heavy fog. I brushed off the feeling as mere nerves, trying to immerse myself in the camaraderie of my friends. But as the night wore on, my unease only intensified. I noticed that the woods themselves seemed to be alive, moving and swaying in a way that defied the gentle breeze that occasionally brushed through the trees. The shadows danced in strange patterns, playing tricks on my mind. "Did you hear that?" Sophie, one of my friends, whispered nervously. I strained my ears and caught the faintest sound of rustling leaves. My heart quickened, and I realized that the woods were not as deserted as they seemed. "Just an animal, probably," Alex, the bravest of the group, reassured us. "Nothing to worry about." Despite his reassurance, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were not alone. The sensation of being watched hung heavy in the air, and the hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. As we continued, our laughter faded into a hushed silence, each step echoing like an ominous drumbeat. I longed for the safety of daylight and the familiarity of home, but we had come too far to turn back now. A faint glow emerged through the trees, like a distant beacon in the darkness. Curiosity drew us closer, and we found ourselves in a clearing surrounded by ancient gnarled trees. In the center stood a massive oak tree, its branches twisted like skeletal fingers reaching for the heavens. The eerie glow emanated from the tree itself, its bark etched with cryptic symbols. The sight sent a chill down my spine, but my friends were inexplicably drawn to it, as if entranced by some unseen force. Sophie stepped forward, her eyes fixed on the tree. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" she murmured, her voice distant and dreamlike. I tried to call out to her, to tell her to come back, but my words caught in my throat. The air seemed to vibrate with an otherworldly energy, and I could feel it tugging at my very being. Then the whispers began. At first, they were soft, barely audible, like a breeze brushing against my ears. But soon, they grew louder, more insistent, until they became an incoherent cacophony of voices, overlapping and intertwining. I clamped my hands over my ears, trying to block out the haunting symphony, but it was futile. The whispers seemed to seep into my mind, penetrating my thoughts and filling me with a deep sense of dread. "Run!" I finally managed to scream, but my warning was lost amidst the haunting chorus of voices. My friends didn't react. They remained entranced by the mysterious glow, their eyes vacant and unseeing. I reached out to grab Sophie's arm, to pull her away from the tree's grasp, but she was immovable, rooted to the spot, as if bound by an invisible force. With each passing moment, the whispers grew more coherent, revealing fragments of dark stories and forgotten tragedies. They spoke of restless spirits, vengeful entities that had been bound to the tree through ancient rituals. The more I listened, the more I realized that we had stumbled upon a malevolent force beyond our comprehension. Desperation consumed me, and I tried to drag my friends away from the tree, but it was as if an invisible barrier surrounded them. Panic surged through my veins as I realized that we were trapped, and the whispers seemed to taunt me with our impending doom. Suddenly, the ground beneath us trembled, and a haunting wail echoed through the woods. The tree's glow intensified, casting an eerie light on my friends' faces, now contorted with fear. Time seemed to slow as I watched in horror. The tree's branches elongated, reaching down like skeletal arms, and with a ghastly creak, they ensnared my friends, pulling them closer to its cursed core. "No!" I screamed, my voice breaking. "Let them go!" But my pleas fell on deaf ears. The tree's grip tightened, and my friends were lifted off the ground, their bodies writhing in silent agony. I could do nothing but watch in terror as they became one with the whispering grove. With a final, agonizing cry, the tree claimed them, and the glow faded, leaving me alone in the haunting silence of the woods. In the aftermath, I ran, my heart pounding in my chest, haunted by the terrifying encounter that had forever changed me. The whispers still linger in my mind, a chilling reminder of the malevolent force that dwells within the woods at night. The Whispering Grove, a place where darkness and ancient secrets reign. This has been Two Terrifying Tales of Encounters in the Woods, narrated by Richard Noble. On behalf of myself and the Creepville Chronicles, as a whole, I want to thank you for tuning into this, my very first video here on YouTube. If you enjoyed the listen, please like the video and subscribe for more, as I have various other stories still to come. Comment down below with suggestions if you've a particular topic you'd like me to cover. If you've a first-hand accounting of an experience all your own, you can find my email down in the comments. Stay safe out there, my friends, for the night is dark, and the next story I tell may just be about you.